The trouble with Jamaican male sprinters. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button so we can continue to grow. When you do that, go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. We drop a video at least once a day here on Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy the content, please hit that like button and finally leave your thoughts. So, when you're ready, yep. Good to go. First up, let me apologize for my absence. It's the season of giving, people, and this time of year is one of the times of year when we do a lot of giving back. Something that I would encourage you all to do. So, of course, this is a topic that has been discussed almost ad nauseum. What is the trouble with Jamaican male sprinters? After listening to a very in-depth conversation between two of our greatest track stars all time, apologies. What am I thinking? Usain Bolt and, of course, Asafa Powell. Well, it kind of made me tie the bow, etc. on it. And we here at Peter Lloyd World, myself and the team, believe that we have the answer as to four reasons, the four major trouble with Jamaican male sprinters. So let's talk. Recently, Usain Bolt was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award by BBC. This gets us into the first trouble with Jamaican sprinters. Number one, its legacy. The thing about having athletes at the caliber of a Usain Bolt and a Asafa Powell, a Johan Blake, is that we tend to forget that these are once in a generation, once in a lifetime caliber athletes. You know, these people are not going to come along quite often in any one scenario. So the public and the coaches, etc., there's an expectation that the athletes who come after will be at this caliber and this level. And this, as you know, is simply not true. It's not plausible. It makes no sense. But it does create a huge problem. It creates a trouble. The second aspect of this argument regarding legacy is simply that the athletes who are coming after, because they're in the orbit or in the room with, let us say, Usain Bolt and Asafa Powell, and they're being treated by in a particular manner simply because they are Jamaican athletes, they themselves start to believe that, yes, simply because I'm in the orbit of this individual, I deserve to be treated like a Usain Bolt, like an Asafa Powell. And the truth is, many sponsors, etc., actually treat them like this before they've earned the right to be treated in this manner. Look, people, legacy, simple. America is still waiting for another Flojo. She may never come. We may never find another Usain Bolt. Sorry to tell you. Number two, ignorance, arrogance, and entitlement. The fact of the matter is, in that interview between Usain Bolt and Asafa Powell, they both stated clearly that many of our young male athletes suffer from this particular problem: ignorance, arrogance, and entitlement. And let's look at this very briefly. In many instances in our country, the sponsors, etc., by the time the athlete hits class 2 and is performing well at Eastern Boys and Girls Champs, they are circling like hawks. Now, they're important. The athletes need them to get to a certain point. And I understand that with the sponsors, they missed out initially on the Usain Bolt and the Asafa Powell. So they're trying to ensure that they are connected to the next big thing. That's understandable. However, the issue with this is that most of these athletes have not yet proven themselves. Yes, we know that they're talented. Yes, we know that there's something exceptional about them. But they're not superstars. So they shouldn't be treated in this manner. They shouldn't be treated as if they are special. And I don't mean to sound like a sourpuss, because I'm not trying to be. I'm simply saying these are young, impressionable minds who have a, let's say, a skewed perspective of reality, who believe that since they're in the orbit of the greats, they anticipate to be treated in that manner. And what makes it worse is if a coach, coaches, staff, etc., students, friends, family, and sponsors begin to treat them this way. As Usain Bolt stated, there was a major athlete he was speaking to who had just started his career, who said he didn't need to do all this training simply because he was already rich. This young man had just started his career. It's a sense of arrogance, it's entitlement, and above all, it's ignorance, because these people, that young man, had no understanding of how this works. It takes years to become great. You can do extremely well at Issa Boys and Girls Champs. You can start from class 3 all the way up to class 1 and fade into the mist and into the wind. So we need to make a concerted effort, so to speak, meaning staff, meaning the Jamaica Athletic Association, the coaches, the sponsors, to yes, treat these athletes with a massive degree of respect, but do not treat them as if they're superstars, because people, they are not yet superstars and they are impressionable children. And we know what it was like when we were teenagers. In many instances, we thought we knew a lot of stuff and we actually didn't. So I think this is another huge problem. If the athlete believes they're already a star, what do they have to work for? My father used to say, if you are at the top of the mountain, you have only one place to go, down. So ignorance, arrogance, and entitlement. I hope that explains it. Number 3, poor coaching and injury. How else can I put this? This can do untold damage and injury to a future great athlete. Poor coaching techniques based on coaches who may not have all the equipment and or all the knowledge. Usain Bolt also stated very clearly in that interview with Asafa Powell that he said country coaches, they never know the mud. And I'm not disrespecting anyone from the country. I get that. That's not the point I'm making. I'm simply saying that if you don't know, you don't know. And you may have an athlete who's just an amazing sprinting talent. And when there's injury, when there is a tear, when there's something is wrong, as Usain Bolt say, put a little ice on it. And that won't help. And you and I know, well, if you don't know, you should know that if you tutor an athlete in the wrong sprinting method, especially when they're younger, as they get older, it may be very difficult for them to adjust to the correct method. And poor running, sprinting skills, poor sprinting techniques can lead and often lead to horrific injury. And injury is the bane of every athlete. And in many instances, you simply never recover from the injury. So this is another huge problem that we have. So I would say another reason why our male athletes do not transition very well is very, very bad coaching, poor coaching. And we have a lot of great coaches, but in the mix, you're going to have a few coaches who probably shouldn't really be coaches. And secondarily, as a result of this, there is just injury from poor coaching. And try to unlearn your ABC as you speak. The younger you are when you learn these things, it's the more difficult it becomes to break these habits. So when these athletes, even if they do extremely well based on just raw talent, and they transition to the pros or they transition to college, it becomes massively difficult to succeed, simply because at a certain point, your talent alone doesn't work. Your technique, etc., is important. And if you have recurring major injury from something that happened to you when you were very young, it becomes very difficult to truly recover. Last but certainly not least, number 4, the statistics. Now what this means is, statistically, the research says that once the possibility of success for a male athlete, or any athlete that is, going directly from amateur to pro, meaning you go from amateur, which is you can't get paid, to professional, which is when you're going to make this a career, so to say, a career, or going from the collegiate scene, meaning college or university, to professional, is 1 to 2%. That means for every 100 male athlete that Jamaica produces, statistically, no more than 1 or 2 of these male athletes will successfully become professional male athletes. And that does not mean that they will be top tier, top 5 male sprinters. And very often when we speak, we don't take into consideration that this is an absolute fact. Statistically, I mean, we're already ahead of the curve where women are concerned. It's unusual. And we did things that are a little unusual. Like I said, we produced an Asafa Powell immediately after Usain Bolt and a Johan Blake. Statistically, that doesn't really happen very often. So I'm saying to you that one of the massive trouble with Jamaican male sprinters is simply this. Statistically, out of every 100, only one or two will actually succeed. Now, I'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one because, of course, this, of course, is just my 2 cents. I want to know what you think. Is there anything I've said that you want to debunk? Do you agree with me? Do you want to add any of your opinions? Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button. Remember, we are royals, kings and queens. Bless up.